MMA at Access TV Studios, downtown Los Angeles. Kenny Rice and Boss Rutan, glad that you could join us. Bring it in.
Bring it in. Wheel it in.
Of course, the worst kept secret in the last 2 weeks in MMA was that Ronda Rousey was going to the UFC. Which happened, which basically everybody knows. It makes sense. You know, we were talking on the show, and I said, you know, I think everybody wants to see Cyborg Santos. We took another look at the records and all, and the fact you got a couple of Olympians, and it makes sense that Sara McMann would be maybe the second lady to join the UFC. What do you think?
You know, it will be really great. They, both started in 2010, June 1 in August. I mean, pretty similar records, both undefeated. We got a silver medalist, a bronze medalist. Whoa.
And here she is.
Oh, my God.
Live from her home in Gaffney, South Carolina. Sara will have the answer. Sara, welcome to the show. And are you going to the UFC anytime soon?
Well, I'm not exactly supposed to talk about it. Everything's still finishing up with Strikeforce, but my manager just says it's in the works, so we'll see.
Okay, and what do you think? Because everybody has been telling you this, of course. What would you think of a Ronda Rousey as a first opponent?
As my first opponent?
Yes.
I think that from the way they had it scheduled, they plan on having things follow the same route that we are going to follow with Strikeforce. But from what I understand, there needs to be like a proper build-up to a fight like that. People don't really know me that well, and they definitely know her. So it just doesn't make sense to have it without, like a strong following with me too.
I don't know, Sara. You know, you're on our show again, and you've got an Olympic medal, and you're undefeated. I think a lot of people know who you are. Plus, it would get to it then. If we go with that, then the UFC's got to start signing several women to come in and fight to set everything up, right? I mean, they can't. If they just had you and Ronda, then that's an obvious somebody has to fight there.
Well, I think that they should sign a lot of the girls. I think that the talent at 135 is very deep, and I mean, I think it would be a shame to just have one highlight fight for the women. There's a lot of 135ers that can give her a run for her money.
Nice piece on courage in sports, by the way. I saw that. And this is something completely different. I'm going to throw you a curveball here. I saw that you have a degree in theater at the Lockhaven University. And I was wondering, is that something that you, after you're done with fighting, you say, maybe I want to be acting, or I want to, produce something?
I think that my acting is more something that I just love to do. I would do it more locally. I like doing stage performing more than anything like big time LA or anything like Gina Carano did.
Well, if you were in LA, you'd want to be a director. Everybody wants to be a director out here.
That's it.
Right?
Or an actor.
And I got to tell you, you talked about notoriety and things. Having that acting a background could probably help you out here, because there's a lot about selling fights that is so different than 4 or 5 years ago. Would you agree that, you got to sell the fight as much as be a good fighter?
Yeah, that definitely comes into play. It's quite a bit different from what I normally have done. It's an entertainment sport, and I think that I've taken more the route of just being more of a pure competitor. And I think that the way that I fight will sell the fight more than my mouth. So,
is there any fight lined up for you right now?
No, I was scheduled to fight Liz Carmouche in Strikeforce before I got an injury, and then they ended up dropping the November 3rd card. So I thought that maybe they would go along the same line as that I would fight Liz in the UFC, but I really don't have any idea. I guess from my wrestling background, we go to tournaments and you have no idea who you're going to compete against. So I just prepare to make myself the best fighter I can be, and whoever ends up being the other person I fight, then I'll just deal with that when I get to it.
A lot of people are going to ask you about Rousey. The comparison, it's pretty interesting. You guys are both great on the ground. You finish them off. You're undefeated. She has her Olympic medal in judo. You have your Olympic medal in freestyle wrestling. You do have the edge and silver medal to bronze medal on her, by the way, as I'm sure you know. But, I mean, this looks like something you mentioned in the works. I mean, it does now look like a matchup that people could see. I think that it's a good selling point for you.
I think that pretty much since the first time I said I was going to be in MMA, even when I was an amateur, people were like, oh, I heard Ronda Rousey is going to be in it. You guys should fight. And so now it's probably been like 2 years of hearing about Ronda. So I think that like, as far as the diehard fans, it's definitely been built up. I think that they need to get more of the, like the other fans, who are a little bit, don't know every single person in MMA, involved in that too.
You say it's in the works, right? The UFC's in the works.
That's word given to me. So we'll see what that means. In MMA, that could mean anything.
Little bird.
All right. Sarah, thanks for your time. Best wishes.
Thank you very much. Godspeed.
Thank you.
And I understand, because, hey, let's face it, it's a pretty controlling atmosphere, the UFC, so some fighters can say things most can't.
Yeah, and then you can, and then you can't.
I think that's going to be the worst kept secret, that she's going to sign with them too, right?
No, she's going to get signed. And another similarity that they have is that she was the first female ever who got a medal in wrestling, and Ronda Rousey was the second female ever who got a medal. So, it's really close together if you'll put everything one-on-one.
Yeah.
But maybe she is right. People, hardcore fans know her. Maybe not a lot of people now. Maybe it needs one more fight, and then Ronda on one side, and then both each other. Ooh.